Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Beat the Book. It's playoffs, baby. I mean, let's get a little celebration here. I'll clap a little bit. Hopefully, it doesn't sound too bad over the microphone, over the airwaves to you fine people out there. Oh man, great one, great weekend last week. We had a super wild card weekend. It was great to watch those games. We had a little reaction stream to it. If you guys were able to see that, good on you. Nobody really joined us for it. It's the second stream that we've done, so not a big deal. We're still small. We're still, on this journey to greatness, if you will. But it was fun. It was a great weekend. We have, the next matchups. We got 4 games, divisional round, and then next week's the champs round. It's gonna be crazy. But I'm joined by BigAL Bettor. I'm MattyBets. BigAL, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Matt. Doing great. It's always a pleasure to be back on the mic, be back on the camera with you. Yeah, no, we had honestly, we talked about it in the recap video. We really only had 2 good games in that slate of games. They were all pretty one-sided, except for Bucks Commanders, and then Packers Eagles. The score doesn't look like the game was close, but it was really close for 3 full quarters, and then the fourth quarter is kind of when the Eagles pulled away a little bit, but. No, this second week of games should be much better. The divisional rounds always, there's going to be one upset probably, and then you're going to get a bunch of different teams that are doing a bunch of different things. But this is going to be arguably the best week just because we get 4 games, 2 from each side, and they're all the teams that probably deserve the most to be here. So looking forward to it, and I'm excited to dive into this one.
Nice. It's going to be fun to pick your brain on this, see where you're at on the spread, the over under. In
Come
this
on.
video, we're talking Texans Chiefs. You guys know from the title, that's the big game here. Chiefs, they had their 2 weeks off, yeah, because they sat week 18. They had the bye week, number 1 seed. Only team they lost to that we're actually going to count is the Bills because that last game with the Broncos doesn't count. They rested all the starters, like I said. So
Mm-hmm.
Texans are on the road, going to Arrowhead, take on the Chiefs, the back-to-back reigning champs of the world, world champions there, two years in a row, trying to go for a three-peat. Texans are plus 8.5. Chiefs are 8.5 point favorites here. That's a
Big
little.
number.
It's a big number for a divisional round playoff game, and then over/under set at 41.5, which kind of a lower over/under than we've seen. So unless you don't think the Chiefs are going to blow them out, it kind of, I don't know. I'll start here. It's a lot of points for the over under being so low, in my opinion.
Okay.
So if you're going for the Chiefs win this game by 10 points, then you're thinking the Texans get absolutely stomped and they can't do anything on offense, and Chiefs win 21, 22 to 10, or yeah, 20 to 10, something like that, and then you're not even close to touching that over. But I want to know what you have to say about that.
Well, I mean, you could get a 31-10, and you're only at 41. You're still under this number,
Yeah, but
which would
that
be just an absolute beat down by the Chiefs and the Texans just pretty much not showing up for this game.
okay. Well, how do you
You
see it
know.
going, and where are your picks at? Where's your money at?
Oh, that's what you meant when you
Yeah,
wanted my thoughts.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
you haven't. You're gonna make me go first.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you got the Texans, you got the Chiefs. Obviously, we saw what the Texans did last week against the Chargers. That defense is for real. They got Aziz Al Shair back. That's his name, right? I said that
Yeah,
correctly.
you did.
He was suspended for 3 games for for that hit on Trevor Lawrence. He came
The
back.
dirtiest hit that we've
People were
seen
trying to
this
start
year,
some.
probably in a couple
People were
years.
trying to. Yeah, people were trying to start some controversy that he tried to punch Lad McConkey in the head last week. I don't think that was it at all. But anyway, so they got him back. He flies around. He causes trouble. Um, no, that defense is super for real, which is why it's a scary game for the Chiefs. So, but they are the champs. They're the reigning champs, like you said. They're trying to go for a three-peat. So I'm gonna go with the Texans plus 8.5 here. It feels like a touch too many points. I was gonna go through and check how many games the Chiefs have won by 8.5. Um, I don't think it's very many. They tend to, keep it close and win at the very end. So I expect that to be the same thing here. I think they're going to start a little slow just based on the fact they had the bye week and technically 2 weeks off because they didn't play any starters in that final game of the year. So I think first quarter they're going to be kind of sluggish and slow, and then they'll pick it up and they'll make it a game. But the Texans, they're all fired up after their win. I think they're going to come in here with bad intentions. CJ Stroud played pretty well, honestly, against the Chargers, who don't have a slouching defense. And then the Texans defense can be able to cause some problems for the Chiefs. But I am on the over. It's too low of a number. We had the over. It was 1 point higher for for the Chargers-Texans game, 42.5. Chargers didn't even show up for that game. We still covered that number. So I expect us to cover this number as well. So I like the over 41.5 here, and I like the plus 8.5 with the Texans.
Okay. I will say I'm in lockstep with you when it comes to the 8.5 with the Texans and also the over in this game. I don't see the Chiefs getting blown out in this game, and I'm kind of on the same side of it, same side of the coin that you are, where Texans kind of get off to a hotter start than the Chiefs. They take a little bit of time to get going. Maybe the second drive they get a field goal, but I don't see any points coming from the first drive. Like, they can easily prove me wrong here, but I just see them coming out to a little bit slower of a start. Texans get a little bit of a lead. Chiefs come back and, make it a closer game near the end and win it. In my opinion, they'd win this game, most likely. But at the same time, too, it's like, if it's going to be a close game, you want the 8.5 points, which all the Chiefs games have been close this year. So if it's tied going into the end, Chiefs get a touchdown. There you go. There's your 7 points. You still cover with the Texans 8.5. I do not like the Texans at all. I've been, very against the Texans this year on this show. But you got to take the points where you can get them. And here on the Texans, I think that's the smart play, because it is 8.5. Maybe the book knows something that we don't, but this is also an upset game too, where the Texans, they did look good last week. The Chiefs could come out and just be sluggish, and we could see the Texans get up to a 14-point lead and then never look back and be like, hey, we can actually beat the champs from, the reigning champs. So there's a chance there that the Texans could just run away with this game, and then the 8.5 feels even great there too. Now, on the flip side, is there a way that the Chiefs defense can stop the Texans? Yeah, obviously. They're the Chiefs. But I just see this game being a lot closer than a lot of people see it, especially the book at 8.5. I think that's a great number to get. And then also, the Chiefs, they're going to be scoring points. They're going to. And they might not even score anything in the first half, but we know what Mahomes can do. We haven't seen it this year because he hasn't needed to be the old Patrick Mahomes. He's been this new and improved version where he's honestly essentially a game manager, where he does everything that he needs to do to be able to get the ball back at the end of the game, win the game. There you go. Defense does just enough. Defense looks good, and Mahomes looks good too. And that's just what you have. But if they need 21 points to catch up, and it's start of the third quarter, start of the second half, or halfway through the third quarter, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs can do it and come back, get 21 points in a quarter and a half, and keep the Texans to nothing. So there you go. Yeah, I'm definitely on the over, though, in this game. It's too low of points, and I see the Texans getting off to a hot start.
Okay. I will say, for reference, I did this last week with most of the games. The total points scored for both these teams across the whole season, them and their opponent, 41.8 for the Chiefs, so just over this number, and then 43.8 for the Texans, which, you get a 2-point cushion there. So, but yeah, I mean, it feels like too many points at 8.5. And the last time these guys played, it was 19-27. So the Chiefs won by 8. So you'd still cover with the 8.5, and you would get the over.
Okay. Love that there. Love hearing that. Love it when you bring the stats to back up our claims. It's awesome. And I also just like the fact that we're both on the same thing here. We've definitely seen that kind of turn this year as we've gone along and done more games together. And get more educated as gamblers ourselves, but we've seen us agree on a lot more. And at the start of the year, like the first 8 weeks that we would agree, it was bad news. And it was like, okay, we both agreed on the same thing, and then guess what? The opposite thing happened. And then, near the end of the season, when we would agree, it's like one would hit and one wouldn't. Or, like the over would hit, but, the spread wouldn't. And it's like, it's been a little mixed matched. But I think in this game, it makes perfect sense to both of us. We've already explained our sides of it, but it does make a lot of sense to get the 8.5 on the Texans and then also the over, the 41.5. So I feel good about it, and I feel confident.
Like, just one last thing before we move on to the parlays. Like, talking about starting slow or starting sluggishly. Like, maybe people are sitting there like, the Chiefs aren't going to start slow. They're the champs. They know what they're doing. It's like, all well and good. Bills started slow. Their first drive, they only scored a field goal, so it's 7-3 early. And then, obviously, they got rolling when the second quarter started and were able to come in and take the points and take the lead. But even the Bills started slow, and they rested starters just like the Chiefs, but they didn't even have a whole week off. So the Chiefs with a whole week off of practice and doing the same thing the Bills did in the final week, that could be a much different deal.
Yeah. I mean, it is the Chiefs. It is Andy Reid. He knows how to get the guys ready.
We're not saying the Chiefs are getting wiped out because they had the bye. We know
we've seen this story before. Yeah, we've seen them have the 1 seed, have the bye week, rest the last week. They come in and then guess what? They're in the Super Bowl again. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes for them, and it should be a fun game to watch. That's going to be awesome. But obviously, that's not the only thing that we bet on this channel. 4-pick parlays. Let's hear it.
Okay, here we go. I'm going back to just kind of my normal picks. Last week I had a couple that plus 2,000, plus 1,100, 1,500. Going back to keeping it under 1,000. This one is a plus 800. It's very simple, and I double checked all of these stats off of the first time these two played just 3 weeks ago. So I have Joe Mixon at 50 plus rushing yards. He had 57 in the first matchup. I've got Patrick Mahomes at 25 plus rushing yards. He had 37 in the first matchup. I got Nico Collins at 70 plus receiving yards. He had 68 in the first matchup, but he caught 7 balls, and Tank Dell had 98 because that was the game he got hurt, and he had 5 catches. So with Tank Dell out of the situation, I expect Nico to get those extra 2 yards he would have needed the first time to get to the 70. Then we got Travis Kelce at 60 plus. He's the only one in this group that didn't hit this number the first time they played. He had 5 catches for 50 yards. So I need him to get 10 more yards, but it's the playoffs, so I expect him to show up and do his thing. So I got Mixon at 50, Mahomes at 25 plus, Nico for 70 plus receiving, Kelce for 60 plus receiving. That thing pays out plus 800 over on DraftKings.
Nice. I like that. I like that you went back and looked at the last game that they played. I thought about doing that because, you've already seen the game happen once.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to justify my picks off of that just because that was regular season, this is playoffs. And playoffs are different, as we all know.
I mean, that's not what I was doing. I'm just saying they did hit these numbers the first game, and these players have hit those numbers all season long. I wasn't just taking numbers that – I didn't go through and like, oh, this number, write it down. After I'd written down the picks I liked, I went back and referenced the first game to see if they had hit these numbers. And I was like, oh, this did. Travis didn't. And that's kind of what I was going off of.
Okay. That makes sense then. All right, I'll jump into mine here real quick.
Copy paste the last game. That'd be kind of stupid.
I thought that's what you were doing. You're like, yeah, cross-reference these with the last game. So here you go. Here are my picks for the Christmas Day game that they played. Okay.
No.
I'm going to tell you right now, I have Kelce for 50 yards, not 60. So my first leg is Travis Kelce, 50-plus receiving yards. Then we're going Isaiah Pacheco at 50-plus rushing yards. Not rushing and receiving, just pure rush. I know the Texans have a good front, but Pacheco hasn't really done much since he got back from injury, and I think that changes here. And he's going to be the bell cow. He's going to be the workhorse. I like him in this game a lot. Then we're going C.J. Stroud, 200-plus passing yards. C.J. Stroud looked good last week. I just want to see it keep going. I don't know if they're going to score a ton of points. Like, we both think the over's going to hit in this game, but I like C.J. Stroud, 200 yards. Like, he's going to have to throw the ball, in my opinion, with the Chiefs front. And then, last but not least, we got Xavier Worthy at 50-plus receiving yards. Pretty simple. Pays out plus 900.
50-plus?
50-plus. Like, we were able to get Kelce,
900?
Kelce, Pacheco, and Worthy 50-plus apiece, 1 rushing, 2 receiving. And then C.J. Stroud 200-plus, and it paid out plus 900. I thought that was kind of crazy. The 1+ money in here was Pacheco. The 50-plus rushing yards was like plus 200.
Yeah, because he has not been good since he came back from the injury.
No, he hasn't
Kareem
been.
Hunt kind of stayed. Kareem stayed in like the RB1.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why right here, right now. You guys are going to hear it here. You probably haven't heard anybody talk about it yet. Andy Reid's great coach. He's a phenomenal coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows he needs Pacheco for the playoffs. He knows Pacheco's potential and what Pacheco brings to the table. So he said, hey, we're going to make sure that you keep getting your work done. You'll be able to go in there, get your 10 rushes, whatever. You're not going to be the bell cow. You're not going to be the workhorse because we don't need you to be. We're going to seal up this number 1 spot. We're going to get the bye week. We're going to get the week off that we're going to rest everybody. You're going to come back week 1. You're having 25 carries. Get ready because we're going to be running the clock. That's what I think, and I think Pacheco's ready to go. He's fine. He's going to have 20-plus carries. Maybe we'll see how much the Chiefs actually run the ball, because if they get down early, they might not run as much. But I like Pacheco to have it be a big part of this offense on Saturday.
Okay. Okay. I will say Stroud did get over the 200. He had 230, 240 in the first matchup. Mahomes threw for almost 270 in that game, which is kind of crazy. Xavier Worthy, I believe he led the team in receiving, so you should be good there. And then, like I said, Kelce had – I said 50. He had 5 catches. It might have been for 30-something yards, but whatever. Regardless, it's the playoffs. Kelce's going to show up and show out. So that's like the least worried I am about a pick is Kelce for yards in this game.
That's the thing with Kelce is like he had a really up and down year where it's like he didn't really do much. But it was also a weird year for Mahomes too. Mahomes wasn't throwing as many touchdowns, wasn't throwing for as many yards. So a different just dynamic around the whole entire team. But what I'm trusting here is, okay, it's Travis Kelce, it's Patrick Mahomes. Like the best quarterback tight end duo that we've seen. So let's get Patrick Mahomes, Kelce in there. It's playoffs. It's big moment. Kelce's going to shine. He's going to have a great game. And he's just going to be that safety valve all day. And I don't know if the Texans can stop Kelce like some of these other teams can. Like if it was the Chargers, Derwin James can stop Kelce. We've seen it multiple times.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know if the
Right.
Texans have an answer for that. We'll see. We'll see on Saturday. But next up,
We certainly will.
touchdown scores. Who do you like? Who do you got? You still got four for me?
I got four. I'm keeping four through the whole playoffs. It was pretty good for me last week. So some of those games I expect to go over did not go over. So, but we hit a bunch of touchdown scores last week. So I'm going to just keep it going with four. It is the playoffs. So here we go. I got Travis Kelce at plus 150. I can't believe I'm getting them plus 150. Maybe they know something we don't, but I have to take Kelce at plus 150. I got Nico Collins at plus 170, which is even better. I've got Joe Mixon at plus 125. And then I'm taking Kareem Hunt at plus 170 also over on DraftKings. I believe Pacheco is the favorite for this game. And so I'll take the bargain on Hunt because they did put him in for a lot of goal line stuff down the stretch.
Okay, I will say, and that's over on DraftKings, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, Mixon is the favorite in this game.
Okay.
At least over on BetMGM, where I'm
On
betting
what
on
book? Okay,
just
there you
the
go.
one that I used for this. Mixon is the favorite, and he's plus 125. So it's kind of crazy that, obviously the book thinks that it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I don't know. I should have done my due diligence before we made these picks and the touchdown scores. Maybe since it's in Kansas City, maybe they're expecting snow, and maybe that's why the over/under
Sure.
is set where
Weather.
it's at. Yeah, it's the weather indicating it, but at the same time too, it's like it's still the Chiefs. I feel good taking Chiefs players, so that's what we're going to do here. We have 2 and 2, but we have Mixon as well as you. And we have Kelce. Those are kind of two locks. Mixon, like I said, he's the favorite at plus
Sure.
125. Kelce at plus 150. Then we're going to take Isaiah Pacheco at plus 160. I have a lot of faith in Pacheco and Kelce. It's just who the team is. That's kind of like their identity is Mahomes, Pacheco, and Kelce. That's what they were last year at least, so
Sure.
I'm going to keep that going. And then our reach play on this game is going to be Dalton Schultz at plus 475. I like Schultz here.
That's
Wasn't really heavily involved
pretty good.
last week. I was kind of bummed about it. Didn't really get a lot of playing time, or he got playing time, but he didn't catch a lot of balls. So I think they're going to need the points here. They're going to need a little bit more help from Schultz in this game, I think. And I don't think
Okay.
the Chiefs are really going to cover him that well, just because he didn't really do much last week. So I don't think they're going to think he's a threat.
Okay.
hmm
Okay. What were the odds on Pacheco? 170?
160.
160.
hmm So
Yeah, no,
right there with
obviously
Hunt.
Mixon's the guy. Kelsey's the guy. Pacheco, like I have Hunt, you've got Pacheco. One of them's going to get in the end zone. And then, yeah, Dalton plus 475. That's a tough one. Um,
Yeah, it was
just
either
because I don't
that
know if I
or
trust
my
that.
other one that I would have picked would be Chiefs defense.
Mm,
Just because CJ Stroud, second year player, I know that he's developed and all that, but
sure.
I can still see the Chiefs defense like they need to stop, and there you go. Like Joe Mixon fumbles, like he's not fumbleless.
Right.
He does fumble. They
hmm
could pick that thing up and bring it back. Like Chris Jones is a big dude. He could smack the ball out of there. So we'll see. And then
For sure. I'm
also,
shocked you didn't.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm shocked you didn't take Hollywood Brown or Xavier.
Well, I thought about it, but I don't know. I just decided not to. I decided to go with Dalton Schultz. For some reason, all year I've had this soft spot in my heart for Dalton Schultz and a lot of these tight ends too, because they're like, you get so much plus money on them that
You
it's
do.
like they have to score, right? They have to. If I bet this thing 4 times in
hmm
a row, it has to hit at least once. And it's like kind of like a gambler, a gambling addict's just that's their philosophy. Is like it has to hit at some point, and yeah, it is one of those things where it's just like I don't know why, but it's like every time I see Schultz there and he's over plus 400, I'm just like, yep, boom, gotta take it.
Do you know how many touchdowns he scored on the year?
I do not. I know it's low though. Like
I had him in
last year he
fantasy.
had a ton. Last year was his year and he had a bunch, and then this year it's just kind of been the opposite. Kind of like for Kelsey though too, but
hmm
it's playoff game, and I like tight ends in the playoffs. They're underrated in my opinion when it
Okay.
comes to the playoffs. Biggest guy on the field, and they got to bully people a little bit when it comes to like the run game, and then you think they're bullying you again, and then nope, they're just right past you, and then it's just easy pass, easy completion. So we'll see. And
Right.
they're really big threats in the red zone for most teams too.
True.
Mhm.
Very true.
Well, anything else you want to add up before we wrap up here?
No, I'm good, bro. I think we got it all out of the way there.
Yes, we did. We got Texans Chiefs. Like we said, spread is plus 8.5. We're both on the plus 8.5 on the Texans. We're both on the over 41.5 points. Too low of a number for us. And yeah, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys do, like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know, who you guys like for touchdowns, what kind of 4-pick parlays you guys have. We'd love to, for you guys to ask us questions about ours, maybe that we didn't expound on, or ask us something about your guys' bets. Like we had somebody last week, they asked us about like, hey, am I crazy for thinking the Rams might actually win this game? And commented back like, no, you're not. And guess what happened? Rams won. So, and we were on
Rams
that for a
won.
long time too. We were like, no, Rams are probably going to win their first playoff game. We were high on the Rams. They're fully healthy, and they looked good. Sorry, rest in peace, Tyler Higbee. But you tried. You put your best foot forward, but yeah, he most likely
He's
won't be in
not
the
dead,
next
Matt.
game. No, but his football career might be. So you never know. But that's all that we got for you guys, though. As always, remember, protect the bag, beat the book. We'll catch you guys in the next video.